Welcome everybody to Courtside Conversations with Emil. Today is an exciting video. I have a lovely guest that we're doing a Zoom interview with. This is the first time we've done a Zoom interview. I'm used to the in-person interviews, but we've got a lovely new franchise couple that'll be launching in Little Boomers Basketball in Term 1 next year in Werribee. This is Roxanne and Miguel. We're delighted to have them on our podcast. Miguel, Roxanne, welcome to Courtside Conversations.
Hello.
Hi, Mel.
Hi.
Hi.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's been a really good interview. Now, guys, tell us a little bit about yourselves, your background, your story, pre-boomers. Roxanne, I might start with you. Give the audience just a bit of an insight of what was happening in your world pre-boomers.
Pre-boomers. Well, we've just we've moved. We've only been here in Australia for almost 3 years now.
More than 3 years.
Well, more than
Yeah,
3 years
that's
now.
right.
2022. We came from Auckland, New Zealand. But before boomers, it's just us, me working in the government, working in projects for government, community-based projects. And Miguel here is working in the casino,
Yeah.
in the surveillance department. We have two kids. We've got a 6 years old and just turned 8 months old. And we have moved here in Melbourne for, like I said, almost 3 years now, and we're just setting our personal goals, and one of that goals is to purchase a house, which we did as well this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And and we're trying to set up a new goal, which is trying here this little boomers franchise.
Double congratulations. That's two big pillars in 3 years of being in the country, already knocking off home ownership and now knocking off owning your business. Roxanne, actually, I might ask you, Miguel, why did you decide to move from New Zealand to Australia 3 years ago?
To have a better life, but of course, better pay and spend more time yeah, with our growing family. Working, living in New Zealand was great, but we wanted more, for us and to save more and spend more time to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So let me understand, Roxanne, when you came in to the country, you said that your goal was you wanted to own your own house in Australia. Did you also have a goal of having to run or own your own business, or did that come later on?
There's always that, we always have that checklist, right? But because we have a family, we like, our thinking is we always have to prioritize our family first, of course. So our thinking was you get a house first, and then decide after that to build a business or buy a business. We didn't know if we're going to franchise yet, but it has always been that, move first, settle, and then buy a house, and then the business.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a bit. So when did you first come across Little Boomers Basketball? Like, when was the first time? Was it an ad? Was it something on your newsfeed? When was the first time that you came across Little Boomers Basketball, and what was your initial reaction?
We came across the advertisement in Instagram, and then I screenshot it to Miguel, because by that time, after purchasing the house, we said, "Oh, okay, I think it's time to think about having business now." So our first thought was, what business are we gonna have? What, we don't know anything, and we know some people. We know some of our friends who are into commercial cleaning franchise, so we started looking into it. We went to franchising expos. So we're just, trying to explore a lot of the avenues there. What's there for us? What could be, what fits our family. But we didn't really. So we kind of like researched several businesses, which is including that commercial cleaning franchise, and then all of a sudden came across this ad in Instagram, and then I screenshotted it, passed it on to Miguel, and I said, I think this is for us. I think this is what we're looking for. And then I told him to go inquire, and Ali got back to him, and here we are.
Yeah. So I gotta ask a couple of questions from that Because I
Yeah.
know I had a conversation with Miguel when I saw him at the Craneburn location. So was was the goal always to franchise, or were you looking at starting your own business? Walk me through it. Were you guys leaning towards starting your own business, or did you want a franchise? And what kind of influenced your decision making?
We always wanted to franchise because we know that the system and the the program's already been established, and there's already like a support or like a system done, and we just have to start the business on day one straight away, you know. And when we were in the expos, we were like bombarded with a lot of information,
Information.
and some of them they promise, oh, they gonna earn this much straight away and
Guarantee.
guaranteed income, and and they said like in the first year you guaranteed to have around 80 to 100K a year straight away,
Yeah.
and
Too
when
good.
we saw your ad on social media, when we were like started to watch your videos and your posts, what stood out is you're being transparent to your franchisee when when you speak with them and stuff, that it's always up
Mm.
to the franchisee or to the owners or how much they want to earn or how much they perform in their business.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So you went to a franchise expo, and I've been to those franchise expos before. It's quite intimidating. You got people trying to pull you aside. Sir, do you want to come check
Yeah,
out our booth? Would you like this pack? We got this pack here. What brings you in here for today?
and
It's
they want
quite
you to sign up
intense.
straight away. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the problem with some of these expos. Like, in my opinion, a franchise is such a big decision. It's almost as bigger as buying your first home. It's a big decision, and any big decision takes time to actually think it through. So I'm so surprised when some franchise expos sign up franchisees on the day that they've just met, right? That they've just met and
yeah,
have a conversation with. There's a whole process. You got to get the information. You got to speak to the franchisees. You got to speak to the founder. You got to learn about their business model. All of that can't be accelerated, condensed 5 hour window for an expo like that. So sometimes it can be a little bit daunting and confusing for franchisees. I think I might be lagging. Can you guys hear me okay?
yeah. You lag a little bit, but yeah, now you're good.
Awesome. My question to you is, you went to a franchise expo. You obviously had the intention of wanting to
Yeah,
purchase a franchise. Why didn't you take any further action with any of the stores or people that you met there, or franchisors you met there?
because the first thing that we felt like we felt that we were rushed by the other people. But
Mm.
after we signed
Yeah.
up, put our number and our email to them, just after a week, they wanted us to sign up to their franchise, and we were like, oh, we wanted to franchise, but not straight away. And they're like, oh, you might lose your
You might
spot,
lose the spots.
you might lose your
Yeah, the
location,
territory.
territory,
There's only limited spots.
limited spots left, and this opportunity won't
There's
last.
a lot of sales.
Yeah, there's a lot of like sales tactics they're trying to use to us, and now we're like, oh, that sounds really dodgy in a way. So we're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
nah, yeah. So
And I
yeah,
think that I spoke to you about this at the Cranbourne location, Miguel. Guarantees, they're a tough. Like, I don't do guarantees because it's kind of hard for me to guarantee you when the work's up to you. Like you said before, franchise, established system, established model, right? There's a way of doing things, but we can't do the work for you. We can't pick up the phone for you. So to put a guarantee in place, it can come across as a little bit deceptive, because it's hard for me to guarantee something that's out of my control on your work. And I was quite open, honest, and transparent with you. Tell me, Miguel, how, compared to the franchise expo, how was your discussions with myself and our team? What was the difference mainly, would you say?
the first thing, yeah, the like you said, it's always up to us, and there's no guarantee, and you can't promise how much we will be earning on the first year or the first term. Yeah, wouldn't even know if you will get kids on the first term, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's always you like when I was watching your videos, you always says that yeah, it's always up to the franchisees' actions, how they're gonna move forward to their businesses, to their franchise, right? So that's what stood to me a lot, and I think like me and Roxanne have that same passion to do the actions and to get out there and to get our hands dirty for this business.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% true. So if you could go back in time, Roxanne, and what would you, if you could go back in time and speak to people that attend to the expo, what now that you're a franchise owner, what advice would you give to these people that are kind of going around to these franchise expos looking for the right business to them? Is there any advice that you would give to them?
It's I think they have to look for they have to do their due diligence first, right? Before coming into the expo. Because when you go to that, the certain event like that, you don't expect for it's very rare for a founder like yourself to be in the expo and talk about the product that they've created. Most of the people that you're gonna meet there or you're gonna talk there um is or like salespeople, branch managers, probably people who have got the spot, like the first territory, or it's not someone who has founded the business. So that's just like so yeah, it's very rare like for yourself to be engaging with the people. And I guess that's where the transparency that you can see the transparency there. And it's coming from from you yourself. So you're the founder. You started this business, so we can tell that it's the we can tell that you're how we can tell that how you built it. We can tell and see the hard work that you've put into it. Um, and you're not gonna tell the people just the positives. You have to tell
Mm,
them, show them what could happen, um, the negative things that could happen, because I know in business there will be a lot. So
yeah.
yeah, those kind of stuff. So just do their due diligence and find the kind of like seek the honesty in in from the business.
What really
Let's
stood
talk.
out to me is I checked a lot of your Google reviews as well in the past, and
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of positive reviews from the parents in your territories. So we've checked Google reviews. We've checked. I like checking social media. Like I said, I always like all of your social media posts and stuff, which is really really good. And we've seen you and Little Boomers are really active posting into the social media because we were like always on the phone and stuff. So I think like Roxanne said, like yeah, checking due diligence, checking everything through Google, social media, even like Spotify, that I really like about it because you're on Spotify, so
Yeah.
it's
Do
like
you
I
have
listen to your I listen to your post.
you have all the
Do you still
platforms?
listen to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
podcasts now? The weekly podcasts? You still listen to them
yeah,
now?
yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I have my own personal playlist, so I can go loop nonstop because I drive an hour away to and from to our house. So having that playlist is very handy for me.
You mentioned a lot of good points there, and I'm going to go back to due diligence in a bit, Roxanne. You mentioned a really good point, Miguel, and I mentioned this in my podcast, Google reviews. You have to see what the Google reviews are of the company, because if they're poor, if they're lower than 3, that's the product or service you're investing in, right?
Yeah,
If you're investing in a product or service that isn't bringing 5-star reviews or is bringing 3-star reviews, that's a major problem with the business model itself. The product or service isn't there. So you have to do that. And I'm actually keen to ask you as well, Roxanne. You mentioned due diligence, right? If somebody was listening to this interview, right, what actionable steps can you give them? We spoke about a couple. We spoke about checking out the Google reviews, listening to the podcast. Well, that's if they have a podcast. What other actionable steps can you give to somebody so that they're doing their due diligence to make sure it's the right franchise for them?
Um, well, you have to also do the results and the results of the results of what the customers say, like what Miguel said is like the the reviews. But you also got to see how they structure the business, how if they're how the support that they have in place. Because like when you're looking into a business, when you're looking to franchise a business, of course you don't know anything about how they work, right? So you gotta think ahead of the things that could happen, and if those things are those negative things that have will happen, how will they support you? How will they help you? So yeah, I think
Can I say,
that's one big factor.
I think one of the most important things is you mentioned it before. You said, oh, Emil, like you just said right now, oh, it's important. Like when you're experiencing challenges, like how is head office going to help you? How is head office going to support you? Right
Mhm.
now, I'm very honest. I tell every potential franchisee the challenges that our franchisees face. We all know court hire and coaches. Those are the two, lack of court hire and lack of quality coaches. Those are the two challenges that our Little Boomers basketball franchisees face. But in terms of support, right, Roxanne, don't you think it's important if you're speaking to someone in franchising, of course they're going to say to you, we're going to give you 24/7 support. We're here for you. Your support is our success. But you really want a way to kind of like actually see, are they kind of honest about what they're saying? So what we did, and I think you guys would have done this as well, every potential franchisee has to call 5 franchisees, right? 5 franchisees within the network and pick their brains on a whole bunch of things. And one of those questions is support, right? How does head office support you? If you face challenge, if you face an adversity, if you face a problem, are head office available? Is there somebody on call? Or am I stuck in the middle of the ocean by myself when I experience a problem? Or if I try to call someone, I don't get a reply to 3 days later. So I think it's so important that when you're seeking out support and trying to find out, because that's the most important element in a franchise. People come to a franchise because you're not alone and you want that support. That's the biggest differentiator from starting on your own versus coming into a franchise. Of course, the person that you're speaking to on the phone before you become a franchisee is going to say support, support, support 24/7. But the only way to truly validate that is to call franchisees and to speak to franchisees. And on that list I gave you, Roxanne, when you called up
Mhm.
franchisees, we had everybody there, even people that are selling their business. It wasn't like we pick and choose and say, let's not put this
Yeah.
person on the list, let's take out that person. You had that entire list to call franchisees and to get the honest truth. By the way, Roxanne, how was it? How were those conversations with franchisees when you spoke to them? What's some of the things you asked a potential franchisee before you jumped into the network?
Yeah, I
Did-
did that because I'm the one who tried to contact them and trying to call them. And like they said, just follow what you have already established, like the systems. And uh,
Yeah, they mentioned that whenever there's like you said, like a challenge, they're just one click away. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and now that coming into like it's our week 3. It's just coming into the network now. We can see it evidently, like how they how quick the response is. Whenever we need something or whenever there's a simple question, there's always the result is always given to us promptly. So yeah.
You mentioned something about our WhatsApp chat on the phone to me the other day. What did you say about our WhatsApp chat that you were surprised about, Roxanne?
In WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm surprised that you can that get back to us like really quickly. Um, I know that like whenever I'll ask something. I know even if it's a Sunday, I'll just tell you don't need to reply. It's just my free day.
Yeah,
Free day
yeah.
working on it's my time doing the business working on the business now, but you don't need to reply now. But I'm just surprised that sometimes you get back to us as soon as possible, or Ali will um get back to me within a day. So yeah, that's really truly appreciated.
And that's our WhatsApp chat. Like our WhatsApp chat is so active. franchisee
that
supporting
one too. Yeah,
franchisee supporting other franchisees. Because as you
it's
can
a big
imagine,
network.
like one of the most biggest benefits of a network is you've got another franchisee to lean on. Like you've got your franchisee buddy, Joachim from
Mm,
Victoria.
mm, yeah.
He's one term ahead of where you want to be. And we've got other franchisees, because you guys are launching still next year. We've got other franchisees on 400 enrollments every single term. So just being able to lean on them for advice, lean on them for guidance, I think harnessing that network is probably one of the most valuable assets within our franchise. Learning. Because if you can learn from somebody that is where you were at 3 years ago, that's valuable. People literally pay money for that advice. If you can teach me, how did you get there? What did you do? How did you handle this complaint? How did you handle this constriction? What did you do about this? Let's talk about concerns. In our franchise, you're outlaying 50, 55K. It's a lot of money, right? We're not talking about $5 at the canteen or $10 here. That's a lot of money, right? And people can be kind of fearful when they're investing that amount of money. What I would like to ask you, Roxanne, is what initial apprehensions did you have before you invested? And what got you across the line to say, you know what, I'm all in? What apprehensions did you have and what got you across the line?
One big thing for me was the venue. Like you said, it's a big factor. So I knew beforehand, before signing, that I knew it's gonna be a challenge for us, because I didn't when we were doing the research with commercial cleaning, they would promise like, oh, this building, it's all yours. We give you this area, we give you that area, we give you this building, and so on. So I already have that idea when coming into the business. And my thinking was, oh, what if we don't get a venue? What if, remember
Yeah.
those times? And I kind of like had to be assured. Um, After talking to Ali, after talking to you, I kind of like have to be assured that even if we don't get a venue ourselves, that we will have that support to find one. And I think that's what kind of like convinced me as well, is to, because I know that, like doing my research, I know that it's going to be a big factor, because if we don't have venue, we don't get a profit, we don't get kids as well.
Mm.
So yeah, it's kind of like having assurance of having that support, even if we don't get an assurance of having that venue, like even the first few months, as long as we have that support to help us to have and get that venues and locations. That was confirming for me.
And that's really interesting. So you had an apprehension of not finding your first venue, right?
Mm.
So you're saying that you felt reassured knowing that if you didn't find your first venue, that head office support will be there to help you get that venue. And one of the first big milestones or big wins in our network when we onboard a new franchisee is finding what's called their home-based location. Roxanne, if you don't mind, can you share to the audience a conversation we had about 2 weeks ago with your venue? You know the story I'm talking about, the one where you were hooked on this venue and then I gave you a bit
Yeah.
of coaching and then what the solution was. Just talk to the audience that little situation, what happened there and what you learned.
Yeah, so we were in that phase of trying to find a venue now. And before signing in, because my son is doing an activity into this primary school, and I said, you know what, this is like a competition grade gymnasium that where they do the classes. I think it's going to be perfect for little boomers. It's just across the town center. There's a lot, like at least 60 kids for one session, one karate session. And I think it's gonna be, so good. So it's kind of like I was sold. I was
Yeah.
sold to get that venue, even if we haven't, contacted them. So I was doing uh the back end of the business, and I started contacting this side, this school. So a week after, a week passed, there's still nothing. I followed up. And then that was the time when I asked you, oh, how do you approach this? How do you approach looking for a
And then I
venue?
asked you, how many have you contacted? And you said
And
one.
I
I
said
said,
just
one?
one. Yeah. And I was like, oh, because I really think that, I really wanted to have this school. I really wanted, I was kind of like hoping to you to tell me like, oh, maybe you could go and ask them personally, go to
Yeah.
the site, go to the school. But you said like, the more options that you have is the better for the business, because at least you get, if one will say yes and the other says yes, at least you've got those two options. And then, it hit me. I was like, why am I just sticking into this just one school?
Yeah.
And then that after that conversation that night, I emailed, I think 5 or 6, several schools. I don't know how many. And that next morning, someone said, our weekends are free. And this is a really great location um that they offered us. Saturday and Sundays are free. It's a P12 schools, and said this is perfect. And then
Yeah.
I got back to you again. It's like, yes, Emil, you're right. And then
Yeah.
my next conversation, my next phone call with you now was like trying to figure out, the days, which days are we going to take? So yeah,
And that's all the benefits of coming into the franchise network, isn't it, Roxanne? The fact that you've got somebody that you can call on and get coaching advice from that's been there for 5, 6 years that knows how it works. And I know with venues, you need to have more options, because the more options you have, the better selection you can choose, rather than boxing yourself just to one venue. So again, that's one of the benefits of just being able to call someone, lean advice, get coaching advice, versus imagine if you were starting up your own business, you wouldn't be able to have this advice. You'd be staying on this venue, and your whole fate of your business will be determining if this venue says, yeah, we can have you or not. So that was an interesting story, and I'm glad I was able to offer some coaching advice to you. Miguel, let's talk about the 3-day test before you invest phase that you went through. This is a really important phase, the 3-day test before you invest, before somebody becomes a Little Boomers franchisee. Miguel, can you tell the audience, why is it important that a potential franchisee completes and is fully immersed in their 3-day test before you invest?
I think it's important because you have to get the feel of the classes, and you have to know what's going on during the classes. When Mary arrives at the center and talks to the parents, and once the class starts, how the program goes, how the kids goes, how the all these the standard of the coaches are really nice. They're all in uniforms, and just how the whole class went from the start until the end. And you can see um from the flash that you see how it goes. And I really like how the coaches went through during the classes, and you have to get the feel of how it, yeah,
how it is.
yeah,
100%.
how it
And
is.
there's only so much a video or a PDF can kind of tell you about the business. Like really, if you're going to jump into, like for example, if you're going to buy a house, don't you do an inspection, check the house? Do you like the house? Speak to the agent, or do you just say, "Oh, that house on that street is up for sale. Yeah, let's go buy it." No, you do an inspection. You take your time, because this is going to be your place of residence for the next
Yeah,
10, 20, 30 years. And a franchise is no different, right? You got to come
yeah,
down. You got to come down to one of the locations, get a feel for the franchisor, get a feel for the head office. Is the work? Are you going to enjoy doing the work for the next 5 years, right? Because if you don't
yeah,
like working with kids, probably not a good fit for you. How's the culture? All those types of things you got to get a real fit for. And a PDF or a video just doesn't really give you that fit. It's such an important phase in understanding if this franchise is right for you. And remember, a franchise is a 5-year agreement, hopefully longer if you renew. So if you're going to commit for something for 5 years, it kind of makes sense just to spend 3 days fully immersed in the business to see if this is something that you want to go ahead with. Now, let's talk about Roxanne. You've been in a franchisee for 3 weeks now.
Yes.
yeah.
Talk us through, how has your first 3 weeks been? Like, you signed the agreement, you paid the big investment, you're a little bit nervous, you're also excited because it's a new chapter in your life. So it's a bit of a mixture between nerves and excitement. How has the first 3 weeks been in terms of support, head office? What have you been doing? What have you been impressed with? Run me through that first 3 weeks post franchise agreement signed.
Yeah, so first 3 weeks has been There's been a lot. There's been a lot of information. Um, I was welcomed by you and Greg. And there's a lot of a lot of things to follow. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of links to click. But what I like about it is it's from the like from the broader perspective. During my first the first week, the broader perspective, it will kind of like make you ask. There's like a reverse engineering activity, like
Yeah.
throughout the 5 years, what would you like to achieve in the year
Revenue,
five, like the
profit, five
revenue
years.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that got us thinking of like, yeah, we do have like our year plans and projections, but that's a very specific question, like the profit and revenue. So it's very eye-opening, it's and the structures are there, the instructions, um like about the Boomversity has a lot of information in it. We're just halfway through there because there's just a lot. And that's kind of like, I think that's like what, 5-10 years wrapped into
Literally.
one portal.
Literally, yeah.
um
And for those
yeah,
that don't
so
know, Boomerversity is our online franchise training platform that teaches franchisees how to do everything. So it's quite intense, isn't it? You're learning a
yeah,
lot.
it is. And like I told you before, like this morning in our meeting, it's there's a lot of tools that that will help you set up, that will help your business, but it's already there. Like you just need to follow how to install it or how to download it or how to, set it up. You just need to basically follow the guidelines, and that's what I like about it. Um, and it's all in one place. But right now, but I think, yeah, the 3 weeks has been really challenging for us in terms of our lifestyle. I have to be really smart with time management now, with our full-time jobs, with the kids, and now with this. So with this franchise business, with the new venture, so we really have to be smart with managing our time. But so far, I think it's, we're more than excited to start our
And Roxanne,
classes.
you said at the start that you have two kids, right? Congratulations, you've got three kids now because and I had this discussion
That's
with
what
you
I feel like
before.
sometimes.
When you're starting a franchise, and I had this discussion when we were going through the 14-day consideration period, I said, okay, start mapping your week. And you said, oh, Emil, what do you mean? I said, your life's about to change. When you purchase a franchise or a business, it's no different than giving birth to a baby. Like you got to feed, you got to nurture it until it grows. It's going to be very demanding. It's going to need a lot of your time and attention, right? So it's important that you structure your day so that it's getting its dedicated hours of business. Because a lot of people, they come into a franchise or they come into a business and they don't give the business its dedicated time and attention. They just think, you know what, I'll keep everything how I've got right now going, and I'll just put the business on top. And one of two things end up happening. Their family life suffers because they take their family life away and they put it into the business, or the business suffers because it's not getting enough time and attention, especially in the first 6 to 12 months, the infancy stage of a business, right? And you're in Boomerversity right now. It's no different than going to university when you were 20. You're learning a complete business model from scratch. All of that requires time and attention. And if you remember the phone conversation, I said, make sure you have your set hours per week where you're going through Boomerversity, you're going through training, you're going through your pre-launch success roadmap. Because if you don't redesign your life around the business, if you don't say, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's my dedicated time on the business will only get whatever's left over from family, from work, and from everything. And that's going to be very minuscule. You'll then launch a business that's not really good. You'll start off the gate slow, not going to make for a good relationship for the next 5 years. So it's intense university, a lot of information that you're learning, and it's constantly getting updated. But after the first 3 or 6 months, all of that will become secondhand information. Can I ask you what now that you're a franchise owner, you're launching in term one, 2026, Werribee, Victoria. What are your goals for this franchise? I might ask you first, Roxanne, and then I'm going to ask you, Miguel. Where do you want to take this franchise in 5 years' time? If we're rewatching this video in 2030, where's your business? Where do you want it to be in 5 years' time? Let's say I just watched Back to the Future yesterday with my family, and they had a time machine where they can go forward. If you had a time machine and you can go 5 years ahead in future, where do you want to take this franchise? As specific as possible. Roxanne, I'll start with you, then I'll go to Miguel.
As specific as possible. Okay, I wanted to get a second territory. Our goal is to have a second territory to be able for us to have more time for our family, have this on full time for both of us, and maximize everything that we can, venues that we could book, just I think having the second territory will get us there. I think I think I could say, we made it. I think we made it work with the two
But
kids and
why do
everything
you want
that's
a
going
second
on.
territory? What is it about? What is a second territory going to unlock for you that a first territory can't? Tell me what you're thinking.
The first Now that we have the Werribee area, our goal is for Miguel to be able to run this full time.
Okay,
So
there it is.
that's
There's a
the
nugget.
that's the yeah that's the goal. That's the first goal. And once
But
we
Miguel,
achieve,
sorry to cut you off, Roxanne.
yeah,
Miguel, why is that important to you? Why do you want to quit your job and run this franchise full time?
Um, of course, to spend more time with the family, with our kids, with Roxanne, and because yeah, because like if you don't know, I work long hours over the years, 12 hours per shift, and like 5 days, 6 days straight sometimes, and I've missed a lot. Yeah,
family.
my family times, and running this will make me spend more time with the kids and with Roxanne, and yeah, and one of the goals is to have a second territory, but first we want to achieve to have at least around 200 250 for the
Enrolls.
first year to
Awesome.
yeah, that's my goal, that's our goal to want to achieve, and probably within 5 years we want to probably two, or if we're lucky we'll get three territories out west Victoria, um and hopefully we get head coaches to run those territories, and that's part of the goal as well. And yeah,
So that's fascinating. So I wanted to I dug a little bit deeper, Roxanne, into having a second territory to find out why. And it seems like, Miguel, the goal for you is to gain freedom with your family, to have this business substitute your full-time job with the ultimate goal of spending more time with Roxanne, spending more time with your kids, and being present as a father. Is that what you were trying to say?
yeah, that's right.
So then if I said to you, I'm curious, if I said to you, if there was another franchise that had long hours, Monday to Friday, 12-hour shifts, but the money was great, really good money. We're talking $300,000, a lot of money. Would you take that franchise?
No, that's that's the reason why we chose these little boomers, because we know we can work probably the first 2 or 3 years on this franchise, but we know we can achieve once we get the numbers right, once we put ourselves out there, advertising ourselves and getting more networks. I believe that we can achieve to have at least two territories in the next 5 years.
So the reason I asked that question is, would you not say, for a person looking for a franchise, it's so important that they figure out what their goals are and don't just chase the money? Because what I'm hearing from you guys is your goals is to gain time freedom, buy back time to spend with your kids and family, right? If somebody else's goal is to make a ton of money and they don't care about their time, or they don't have kids, they might pick a completely different franchise model that's different to their lifestyle and different to their goals. it's so important, right? This is a lifestyle business that we have. We're working with kids. It's great for parents. It's great for families. It's a lifestyle business. And I think it's so important that when somebody's trying to find the right franchise, you know what they do instead? They go into Google, most profit that you can make on a franchise, highest profiting business, right? They're not looking for what's aligned with their lifestyle and aligned with their goal. I really appreciate you sharing that, Miguel, because that's very important, especially in today's age right now. People don't know what they want. They don't know what they're looking for. They're just trying to follow where the money is. And one of the criteria that we look for when we're assessing a franchisee is we're trying to determine what's coming first for them coming here, community impact or money made. If it's money made over community impact, it's not for you. But if it's community impact followed by the money made, awesome. Let's have a discussion. It's one of the filtering criteria we use. I appreciate you sharing that, Miguel. It's a really important point. Roxanne, I cut you off. Keep on going with what your goals are for this franchise.
Yeah. So having that having that second location will unlock me now after he get on full time. I think having the second location, I'll be able to get on board with him and run, I think, hopefully most of West Melbourne. And yeah, that's the goal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Last question to finish this interview. This has been really good, guys. I ask this question at the end of all my guest speaker interviews. It's going to be a little bit morbid, so I hope you're ready for it. Let's say you're walking into a church for a funeral and you go to sit down on the funeral and you notice the person on the photo, you know how there's a photo when you go into a funeral, the person on the photo is you. You're attending your own funeral. Your best friend comes up to do the eulogy for you. How do you want to be remembered in your eulogy? Roxanne, I'm going to ask you,
That's
and then
the
I'll ask Miguel. It's the question that stumps people because not many people think about this. Roxanne?
yeah. Well, I want to be remembered as um I want to be remembered. I don't want everyone to say that I don't want everyone to say to remember me per se, but I just want to leave my legacy to my kids. Um, to be able to for them to be proud of what I achieved. Um, to be proud of the things that we've Miguel and I what we've achieved for our family, and I want to be remembered as someone who helped kids achieve their dreams. Because it's now we're going into this business. It's going to be we will be spending a lot of time. I think 5-10 years of our lives in this business or more. So I want to be remembered as someone who's compassionate and who's kind to everyone. And I think that's what you really want to be remembered in this world, I guess.
Lovely and well said, Roxanne. Miguel?
Probably the only thing that I want to be remembered is when that I tried I tried my best to become a good person and to especially to my family and to my close friends, and I always trying to be a good example for my kids, be example a good example for my wife and to my friends, and I always wanted to give like Roxanne said to have that foundation for our kids to have in the future, having this business and working a lot and stuff and yeah.
That was lovely. That was lovely, guys. I really
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
It sounds like we're doing a lot of hard work for our kids, and that's what matters
yeah,
most.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
matters most to you guys, not what the outside world thinks. It's what your kids think, and that was really lovely, guys. That brings us to the end of our courtside conversation uh, guest speaker interview. I really appreciate your time coming on. I wish you all the best on your launch, Term 1, 2026, Werribee. It's going to be a very exciting times ahead. Our third franchise partner to join our network for the Victoria area. Super pumped up. Roxanne and Miguel, thank you so much for jumping on and have a great week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, See you soon.
I'm just going to pause the recording.